The air up here smells of dry thyme and dust and wood smoke, for the cooking fires are being lit all across the town. Somewhere, a goat complains. A boy is bringing sheep in along a walled track. The heat of the day is lifting off the land, and a small wind comes down from the mountains. Hymettus to the east, where the wild bees make the famous honey, and Pentelicus to the north, whose pale marble built the very temple on the hill. Breathe that mountain air. Let it fill you slowly, and let it out slower still. There is no clatter of machines in this world, no engine anywhere on the whole earth. The loudest thing tonight will be a voice, or a dog, or the wind. It is very quiet. It is meant to be. Come down now, gently, through the gate and into the streets, while there is still a little light to walk by. The lanes are narrow, some barely wide enough for a laden donkey, and they twist without reason so that a stranger would soon be lost. But we are not strangers tonight, and we are in no hurry. The walls to either side are blank and plain, mud brick over stone footings, washed pale. The Athenians kept their beauty inside, not out. A grand house and a humble one look much the same from the lane. Only the door tells you anything, and even that only a little. There are no house numbers, no signs. People simply knew. The day's work is folding up. A cobbler is closing his little shop front, an open room giving straight onto the street. A woman calls a child in from a doorway. The last porters go by with empty baskets, heading home. And drifting on the air is the smell of the evening meal beginning. Barley toasting, olive oil warming in a shallow pan, the sharp green scent of herbs. Nobody is rushing. The dark is coming, and when the dark comes, in a world lit only by small flames, the sensible thing is simply to be home. Let us pass through the heart of it, the agora, the great open square, the marketplace and meeting place all in one, now that the crowds have gone. By day, this was the loudest place in Greece. Farmers with figs and cheese, fishmongers, potters, money changers, and everywhere men standing about and arguing, which was the true Athenian art. It was here, among the stalls, that Socrates liked to stop passers-by and ask his gentle, maddening questions. What is justice? What is courage? What do you really mean? And it is from those conversations, written down later by his student Plato, that we know so much of how these people thought. But now the agora is nearly empty. The awnings are furled. A stray dog noses among the swept-up leavings. The long covered walkways, the stoas, stand in blue shadow, their painted walls dim. Here is something worth knowing, so gently that you may let it slip away at once. The word we still use, politics, is simply their word, from polis, the city. Democracy is theirs too. Demos, the people, and kratos, power, the power of the people. It was here, or on the hill nearby, that ordinary citizens gathered in their thousands to vote, with a show of hands, on the affairs of the city. No kings, no ministers, the men themselves deciding. It was far from perfect. Women could not vote, and much of the labor was done by the enslaved, which we should not pretty over. But the idea was born here, in this modest square, and it never quite died. When you cast a vote, you are using a machine first switched on in this dust. Now the marketplace is letting its breath out. Come away from it, toward the ordinary houses, where the real evening is happening. Let us stop at one house among the thousands, a modest one, the home of a potter and his family, no one you have heard of, which is rather the point. From the lane, there is only a wooden door, weathered gray. But step through it, and the house turns its face inward, around a small open courtyard beneath the sky. This is the secret of the Greek house. It looks in, not out. The courtyard is the heart of it, and around it the small rooms open, a place to store the great jars of oil and grain, a room for the loom, a room or two for sleeping. The floor is beaten earth in the poorer parts, and there is not much furniture, for these were people who owned little and needed less. A few stools, a chest, a low table that can be carried in and out. Everything simple, everything quiet. A little clay hearth glows in the courtyard, or just off it, and this warm point of fire is the true center of the home. The Greeks had a goddess for exactly this, Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, the gentlest of all the great gods, who asked for no temples and no drama, only the small, steady flame that a household keeps alive. Every meal began with a little offering to her, tossed into the fire. There is a fine, calm thought in that the holiest thing in the house was not far away on the great rock, but here, low and warm, where the family gathered. Sit near it a while. Feel the heat on your face and hands. Let it soften you. As the last daylight leaves the courtyard, the lamps are lit. And here is a thing worth noticing, for it changes everything about the night. These are little lamps of clay, no bigger than the palm of a hand, each holding a small pool of olive oil with a twist of flax or linen for a wick. The flame is small, smaller than a candle, a soft gold bead of light, and it does not push the darkness very far. A whole house might be lit by only 2 or 3. So the Greek evening was not bright the way our evenings are bright. It was a world of warm pools of light with deep shadow between, and faces leaning close to see one another, and the smell, very faintly, of burning oil. Think of that. When these people wanted to read, or talk, or simply sit, they gathered around one small flame, close together, in the dark. There was no other way, and perhaps they were the richer for it. And here is a gentle correction for a thing you may have half believed. We picture the ancient Greeks in a world of dazzling white marble under a hard blue sky. Museums have taught us that. But their nights were long and deeply dark, ruled by these tiny flames, and their days ended early. When the light failed, so did the day's business. They were not, most of them, night people. They rose with the sun and slept not long after it set. As, tonight, will you. Now the family gathers for the evening meal, the deepnon, the main meal of the day, taken as the light goes. Do not imagine a feast. For most Athenians, most nights, the food was plain and good. Barley, made into a kind of porridge or flat cake, for bread of wheat was dearer. Olives and olive oil. Cheese from the goats. Figs, which they loved and ate by the handful. Onions, beans, a little fish if they lived near the sea, which they did. Meat was rare. Mostly it came only when an animal had been sacrificed to the gods, and then the whole neighborhood shared it. So a plate of fish and figs and barley, with a cup of wine mixed with water, was a good supper, and the family ate it sitting on stools around the low table, by lamplight, without much ceremony. The wine is worth a word. The Greeks almost never drank it neat. To do so was thought the mark of a barbarian or a fool. They mixed it with water, often 2 or 3 parts water to 1 of wine, in a great bowl called the crater, and drank it weak and slow through the long evening. Even their pleasures were measured. And when the food is cleared and the children grow heavy-eyed, the day has very nearly done its work. Feel how your own evening is folding down in just the same way. The meal behind you, the light low, the body asking, quietly, to rest. In the finer houses, on some nights, the meal gives way to something more. The symposium, the drinking together, from which we take our own word, symposium. Let us only glimpse it from the courtyard, softly, and not go in. In a lamp-lit room, the men recline on couches along the walls, propped on one elbow in the old fashion, and the mixing bowl of watered wine stands in the middle. But it is not, at its best, a rowdy thing. They take turns to speak, to recite old poetry, to sing, to pose riddles, to argue gently about love and courage and the good life. A boy might play the double pipe, the aulus, low and reedy. It is from an evening exactly like this one that Plato drew his most beautiful book, the Symposium, where friends around the wine take turns to say what love truly is, until the small hours, until one by one they fall asleep where they lie. That is the sound to carry down into sleep. Not argument, but the quiet music of voices in a warm room, rising and falling, going nowhere in particular, while the lamp burns low and the wine grows weak. And no one much minds if you drift away in the middle of it. They will not miss you. They are half asleep themselves. Back in the modest house, before rest, there is one last small thing the family does. They pause at the household shrine. In the courtyard or by the door stands a little marker. Sometimes just a stone, sometimes a small carved pillar with a bearded face, called a herm. And here the family keeps its gods close. There is a pinch of incense, perhaps, or a few drops of wine poured out. A quiet word to Hestia of the hearth, and to Zeus, who guards the courtyard, and to the spirits of the ancestors. The Greeks did not think of religion as something set apart, kept for one day. It was woven through the whole of ordinary life. A word at the door, a splash of wine, a habit older than memory. There is nothing frightening in it tonight. It is only a small pause, a settling, a way of saying the day is done and we are safe and we may sleep. And how do they know it is time? Not by any clock, for there is nothing here that ticks. They tell the time by the sky and by the light, and by the little water clock in the courts of law that let a speaker talk only so long. By night they read the hour from the stars, which wheel overhead as faithfully as any machine. Bedtime is not a number. It is simply the dark and the tiredness and the small flame guttering. All the machinery of the hurried world is still thousands of years from being built. Here, you sleep when you are sleepy. Let yourself be exactly that sleepy now. Now the lamps are being put out, one by one, and the family lies down to sleep. The beds are simple, a wooden frame, cords or leather straps stretched across it, a stuffed mattress and woolen blankets, for the nights can be cool even in that warm land. In the poorer houses, people slept on the floor on a mat, or up on the flat roof in the heat of summer to catch the mountain air. There were no bedrooms as we mean them, private and shut away. The family slept close, in a room or two, the children near the parents, everyone breathing the same dark. The last small lamp is pinched out. The smell of it lingers a moment. And then there is only the warm dark and the sound of the household breathing, and far off a dog and the wind coming down off Hymettus. Let your own breathing slow to match theirs. But let us step out just once more, very softly, into the courtyard. For the greatest thing in the Athenian night is the sky. Look up. Without a single electric light anywhere in the world, the stars over Athens are beyond anything most of us have ever seen. Thick, layered, spilled across the whole black bowl of the sky, and the pale river of the Milky Way flung clear across the middle of it. The Greeks watched these lights with great care and gave them the names we still use. That bright band overhead they called Galaxias, the Milky Way, from their word for milk, and from that same word we take our own galaxy. The patterns among the stars they read as figures and stories, the Great Bear turning slow around the pole, never setting, the hunter Orion with his belt of 3 bright stars climbing the winter sky, the little cluster of the Pleiades, the 7 sisters, whose rising and setting told the farmer when to plow and when to sail. Here is a wonder to fall asleep on. Nearly every constellation you can name tonight was named by people like the ones sleeping in this house. Greek shepherds and sailors and poets, looking up from courtyards just like this one, 2,500 years ago. When you find Orion, or the bear, or the sisters, you are seeing the sky through their eyes. The names have outlasted the temples. They have outlasted the language. They are still up there, unchanged, turning over you now. And the Greeks had a gentle story for the night itself, older than all the rest, which we may end on. In the beginning, they said, before the earth and the sea and the shining sky, there was only chaos, a great yawning dark. And out of that dark came Nyx, the goddess Night, one of the first beings of all, so old and so mighty that even Zeus, king of the gods, would not do anything to displease her. She was not a thing to fear. She was the mother of gentle powers, of sleep, whom they called Hypnos, and of dreams, and of soft-handed rest. Each evening, they imagined, Nyx drew her dark veil across the world from east to west, and under it all things laid down their labors. She was the oldest kindness there is, the dark that lets you stop. So night is not something that falls on you tonight. It is something very old and very kind that gathers you in. The same night the Athenians lay down beneath, the same stars, the same soft dark, unbroken across all the long years between them and you. There is a great comfort in that so little of what matters has changed, that a tired person in a small house by a small flame under those same stars, wanting only to rest, that is a thread that runs unbroken from that quiet town straight to your own pillow. They are all asleep now, the potter and his family, the philosophers in their lamplit rooms, the whole small city under its blanket of stars, asleep as you, perhaps, are sleeping now. The lamps are out. The hearth is a soft red glow. Nyx has drawn her veil, and Hypnos moves gently from house to house. So let go of the last of it. There is nothing to hold, nothing to carry, nothing to remember. Let the old streets fade. Let the stars turn without you. Let the warm dark have you completely. Sleep well, and when you are ready to travel again, Nox Historia will be waiting. Good night.